Go, 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 Speed Racer.
He is a demon on wheels, or so I've heard.
Sources say that he may be a demon on wheels.
Ah, fuck yeah. This local man speaks out.
Oh, yeah. How can we turn that into a clickbait line?
Local menace and demon on wheels, Speed Racer, seen once again racing after someone.
Here's 9 reasons why you should speed if you're in a racer.
As someone who used to watch a lot of lawnmower racing, specifically the stock class, yeah, that could have used more speed.
Lawnmower racing?
One of the many redneck activities me and my dad got into when I was growing up.
That sounds amazing.
Parts of it are. So, like many types of racing, there are classes to it, and arguably the most fun and also the worst version of it is what's called stock class, which is just what a riding mower comes with by default. And
stock.
Yes.
Yeah.
And 20 laps of that is one of the most painful 20 laps of anything you've ever seen.
Oh, God.
Basically, it's someone takes a lead, and if they don't fuck up, they never get past. And either it's the biggest group or the smallest group. But because the way the association is set up, so it's like, okay, it's a one-man race, you're just watching one lawnmower go around the track 20 times, you're like, man was not meant to move at this speed. And then like an hour and a half later, you're watching the FX or the EX or the double piston class, where it's like, nah, they're doing like 60 miles an hour on a lawnmower. Why? Because reasons. I never knew which I liked more, the double piston or the EX class. Like, EX is basically someone takes a go-kart and shoves it into a lawnmower. Double piston is you have to have 2 full-functioning car pistons in your lawnmower, and both are fast, but both are different.
Yeah, that's kind of very different. Wow, there's a lot more to that than I thought there was.
Oh yeah,
there's been painstaking time put into lawnmower.
Yeah,
that's well, at least when you're all right. So I'll say this: at least when you're done with the race, you can go home and actually mow your lawn.
You have to remove the blades from the lawnmower racing for safety, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. See, but my grass cutting league or my lawnmower league, you would actually have to cut grass. You'd be given a plot of grass and you have to cut it as fast as possible. You're racing against everybody else to do the same.
Yeah.
That's what I would want.
You'd want that until you get into the nitty-gritty of I just want to see a lawnmower do 60 out of a corner. And I want that to be safe.
But I want to see it do that while it's actually cutting grass.
That's where you initially start, and then you see enough like NASCAR-style crashes of lawnmowers.
Yeah.
You're like, maybe the blades shouldn't be on. You're right. Like, would I love to see some turf burning going on right now? Absolutely. Yeah. Is this a very smart safety precaution? Yeah. Hello and welcome to the Wicked Awesome Cast, episode 131. We're at partial power this week since Alex is off dealing with some medical stuff. Don't worry, he'll be fine, but he should be back next week. But yes, welcome to the Wicked Awesome Cast. As always, I'm Charlie, and this week I'm joined by Henry, and just Henry.
Hello, everybody.
What's up?
Yeah. So, another week has gone by. Now we're on a podcast where, 131.
I'm gonna start the rumors now that you actually killed Alex and you're moving up. Soon he will take over the podcast.
Yeah, I'm just slowly trying to get my way in, and then replace him.
Soon the podcast will just be Henry talking to Henry.
Yep, and me talking to me about me.
Welcome to the Narcissistic Podcast.
Welcome to the podcast where all we do is just talk about ourselves.
Isn't that every podcast, kind of?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it would do so well.
Unfortunately, it probably would, especially if you're the right person.
Yeah.
I would actually pay money to listen to like a multiple personality person's podcast with themselves.
Ooh.
I know it's not really a real thing, but I would find that concept fascinating.
You practically would get that if you just get somebody that knows how to do multiple voices.
So one I listened to used to do that. He used to do, it was like a Sentai podcast or something, where it was him and his robot wife was the co-host, and his robot wife was his voice through like a or Vocaloid or something. I don't remember what it was.
Oh, it could have been Vocaloid. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Have you ever played around with the Vocaloid?
I almost bought a Vocaloid this week.
Really?
They are $500 right now. They come with 4 different voices. You can no longer get the Mitsu one, Hiramitsu or whatever her name is.
Hatsune Miku.
Yes, that one. Every couple of months I look at Vocaloids and go,
Yeah, it's just so cool. I mean, I think it's a really interesting idea, and the results. But I kind of like the fact that the results are uncanny valley.
Yeah. We talked about it a couple. My God, this was like back when we were in the double-digit number of podcasts. They used to make a Hatsune Miku distortion pedal for guitars that worked as a sort of Vocaloid.
Yes, I've seen that, and that's amazing.
They no longer make them, and I guess you can no longer buy the Hatsune Miku Vocaloid voice either, because she's retired, meaning there's no longer Yeah.
They're still, they have new voices still now, but yeah, I guess you can't get her. They'd have to come out with some sort of special edition return version, But yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that they stopped selling her voice.
I believe we're on like Vocaloid version 5 or something, like version 4. They have a new it's 5. It's new, and I guess like it's now maybe officially too easy. Like, I watched way too many videos on the new version of the Vocaloid program this past week, because apparently now you can like just type in what you want it to say, and the program's now smart enough to spread it out across the notes so it works more or less.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah.
So all right. So I am wondering why you're wanting to purchase it. I think you're wanting to do a podcast where it's with nobody except Vocaloid.
No, this falls in that category of technology. Like, I lie to myself. Like, if I had a Vocaloid program, I'd do something cool with it. It's like, nah, I would just like play with it once and never again. But also, like, I can't go play with a Vocaloid program at a library or something. It's something you have to have.
That's true.
And also, imagine the weird stream bullshit you could do with a Vocaloid program.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because people already do that. Oh, yeah. People are already vocalizing when people donate. I've heard that before.
Yeah.
But not with the Vocaloid in particular, but I think it'd be all the more hilarious.
Yeah, it's kind of like I play no instruments, but every couple months I look at those like music creation programs where if you kind of know the sound you're looking for, you can assemble like notes and shit into a song. And I go, no, but I still look at them.
Yeah.
It's stuff I find fascinating. Like, any time we get closer to a computer just creates the culture we make, we consume, part of me is like, that's terrible, but also part of me is like, how does this work exactly? Like, the potential future where auto-tuned singers and Vocaloids are indistinguishable, and we're just holograph projecting, like, the latest boy band thing, is something I find unbelievably fascinating. Like, I hope I live long enough to see that at least part of our cyberpunk future.
It's getting close. Yeah. I mean, they've already kind of been experimenting with the idea of virtual idols for a while now.
And they can even do the 3D projection stuff. The issue is it's expensive. Like, when we can get to the point where it's like just aim a camera at a stage and bam, virtual band, that's what I want to be around for. I want that nightmare future, because I think that sounds like, again, I will not live long enough to see, like, boring American Airlines version of space travel, but I might live long enough to see some of, like, the start of the cyberpunk hellscape future, and I want that at least. I want, like, some of the weird cyberpunk stuff to happen in my lifetime, because all the bad cyberpunk stuff is happening. I want, like, the good cyberpunk stuff to start happening, too.
Yeah. See, you know, the Splatoon did a concert like that,
Yeah.
like with their two characters, the Callie and Marie
Yeah,
characters.
Hatsune Miku's done one too, or at least a couple that way.
Yeah, with the hologram type thing going on.
Yeah. No,
And-
it's like rewinding to last week or 2 weeks ago. Like my fascination with the KDA video is not that I'm a super fan of the song; it's that's done unbelievably well. So, like,
Yeah.
imagine if we reached a future where K-pop bands don't have to be human anymore. You can just like generate new digital assets for new singers and stuff. Like, that's a weird, freaky hellscape future I find interesting. Where it's like, no,
All right. Actually, I kind of think it'd be better, and hear me out on this one. You know why? Because it would mean they would be just using, computer programs to sort of auto-generate something, have their writers,
Yeah.
they'll have their ghost writers for
Yep.
all the music, but then it won't be promoters manipulating, young and naive pop stars.
Yep.
Like, I'm kind of all right with that idea.
Yep.
That it's that we're taking out the human being manipulated out of that equation, and now it's just a media company creating a virtual system where no human is being taken advantage of. And actually, I'm kind of better with that.
Yes, and that's part of why I find it interesting. But also, like, for a musical form all about the spectacle in their music video, that they can't quite bring that spectacle into reality. Imagine if you could bring that level of spectacle into every concert they do. I'd be like, I'm never gonna like K-pop, but if you could promise every single one of their concerts is as weird, if not weirder, than their music videos, I'd go to a K-pop show kind of thing. It's like, no, I'm going to be like, man, there's a lot of zebra print all across the stage right now.
Yeah. I think, it's definitely interesting to consider just the idea of just any sort of replacement in that way, the digital replacement.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't even have to be intelligent at all. Like I said, it just has to be your ghostwriter sitting and putting together stuff, and then you just have the normal people who are kind of formulate the sound for a lot of your pop stars anyways.
Yep.
I mean, there's a reason why Max Martin, this Swedish songwriter, has loads of Grammys. He's written songs for all the major pop stars.
Yeah.
Like Taylor Swift and others. But anyways.
But yes,
Sweet.
that's why I'm interested in Vocaloid programs. Like, it's a cyberpunky thing happening in my lifetime that I'm like, I won't have a cool application for this, but I think it's cool still.
Yeah. I tend to like to buy and kind of try out new technological stuff as well. I mean, that's why I have that's why I have a Kinect. I have the 360s Kinect sitting here right in front of me because I like to experiment with stuff like
Yeah. Enough about our dark cyberpunk future, I think, though.
that. Yeah. Let's talk about games.
Yes, games. Also part of our dark cyberpunk future, but closer and dearer to us.
Yeah.
I played that Red Dead Redemption 2 online.
Oh, you played online now.
Yes,
okay.
the beta is upon us. It came out like 3 or 4 days ago. I believe it's now open to everyone. I don't think I'll be playing that much more of it. I spent like 4 or 5 hours fucking with it, and as someone who someone who struggles to play more of Red Dead Redemption 2 story mode, or whatever you call it now, to complete that game, because I just don't have that type of time to invest, apparently. The online is like an extra, like, okay, so I can't pause. It's online. There are people being assholes. I don't think this... it's cool. Like, it is the idea of be a cowboy realized in a video game, and it's kind of interesting because it is what Red Dead Redemption 1's online was going for, like, fully realized. I don't think this will be as successful as Grand Theft Auto Online, but that's a separate topic.
Yeah, I guess now I'm curious. So, what's unique to what you can do online, or what are some things you can do online that you can't do offline?
Well, it is multiplayer. Like, it is other people are in the map with you.
I mean, I kind of get that, but I mean, is there any what can you do? I guess that's the question. What can you do online other than the fact that you'll be online with other players? like in the GTA Online, it was all about putting together your awesome car and getting some good gear together. What do you do in Red Dead?
So you have a character customization again. Like it's about making yourself not look like a hick cowboy kind of thing. The prices are expensive, the gear is expensive. There are like best horses. There is a maybe there's a maybe the concept kind of goes back to you have this outlaw camp. And there are a lot of upgrades to sink into that potentially. So what you are touching on is kind of the thing I realized the first, which is there are no cars, there are no planes, there are no helicopters. There's none of that, obviously, because Red Dead Redemption. I don't know if people will like this as much as other things. Like I don't think you can even own property, as far as I know. Like it's. It's much more about kind of just playing Red Dead Redemption with your friends. Like, you can go hunting whenever you want. Like, there are challenges. It's much more, this is weird, actually. It's much more of a traditional multiplayer game in a weird way, where it's like, go do these multiplayer things. If you start a mission, people can counter your mission with a different mission. Like, that's kind of maybe the biggest online sell. But so, yeah, you hit the nail on the head where there isn't kind of this, like, American dream thing propping it up. It's much more the go be a cowboy is the pitch for this.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like, and and I asked that question because I was wondering what's going to draw people to this and what's going to keep people in that. So, I mean, what you've described will draw people in. I mean, the idea of a cowboy's life, but it's not about drawing people in, it's about keeping them in. It's retention that matters more than bringing them in.
How much Grand Theft Auto Online have you played?
Very little.
Okay, so I think kind of where they've taken what the promise of the lobby system of Grand Theft Auto Online is, which is kind of explore this world, and made it, like, by the simple virtue of there are not planes and shit, they've made it a more appealing space to be. Like, I love Grand Theft Auto Online in concept. In execution, it is a unfortunate example of the haves versus have-nots, where if I'm trying to do some of the biker gang missions, because I bought a motorcycle club in that game, I can't do it because some guy with a fighter jet's trying to do something else or just being a troll. Like, in some ways, Red Dead Redemption Online is for people like me that do want to play this giant multiplayer thing that's kind of like one part MMO and one part open world game, and don't want people just like, I'm gonna troll with my helicopter because he only has a car.
Yeah, so that's an interesting point. Then maybe there'll be a little more there's a little more level playing field.
Yeah.
So that, like, the if you go in new, you don't just get immediately wrecked by every other person because they have, like you said, a helicopter, and they're just firing rockets at you from a helicopter.
Yes, and that's like,
and you're driving around in like a Volkswagen.
Yeah, and that's the issue with Grand Theft Auto Online at this point. It's very much the people that are really into that game have a just disgusting advantage at this point. And I'm not saying that's unfair. What is unfair is that there's no server matchmaking or anything where it's like, there's no private servers in that game, meaning you can be doing something fun, you can be doing kind of your MC or your corporation or whatever's kind of story, air quotation, story missions, and someone will just pop onto your server and be a dick. And on one hand, it's like, yeah, that's multiplayer, but also, like, we thought about doing content for the YouTube channel with Grand Theft Auto Online. The issue is we couldn't reliably make it because it's like, no, we can't find a server to do the biker missions. We can't find a server to do X, Y, and Z because other people are doing that and they're directly countering you, or some dude's just there on the jet bike blowing us up because, lol, I'm having fun. And
yep.
On one hand, it's like, yeah, I get it. Like, don't play the game if you don't want to deal with this. But also, I want to play the game. I just don't want to deal with this. And the way your system is set up, I cannot enjoy a thing I want to play.
Yeah, I mean, there's a thing to be said on having some sort of, even Well, I don't know about Red Dead Redemption 2. Is there a way to turn, PvP on and off, like a PvP flag, or are you just always on?
I didn't play with it that much. There's a concept of your camps being PvP enabled versus not PvP enabled. Like it's the white flag system. So, and what you're talking about there, that is in Grand Theft Auto Online. It was called like Ghost Mode or something, like their passive mode. But then you couldn't do any of the lobby content. Like it's you were just kind of there hanging out. You couldn't do motorcycle club missions. You couldn't do the corp missions. Like you couldn't do the stuff you wanted to do in the lobby because it's like, no, it's supposed to be player versus player. I'm like, yeah, I get that, but like, what if some assholes just not? Well, leave the server then. But all the servers have assholes on them. Like it's I just want to play the goddamn thing you put in the game that I spent time grinding up to unlock, but I can't because some fucker's out there in a tank.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the problem. I mean and you've nailed it on the head. I mean that's the problem when you don't have any sort of somehow they forgot to assume that people on the internet they gonna troll. It's the internet. That you don't think of that as aberrant. You expect that, and as a game designer and as a designer of an online experience, you have to expect that. So what are we going to do about the fact that trolls just going to exist? They're just going to exist, and so you have to put something in there to alleviate the players who would actually like to do things and don't just want to sit around and be ruined by trolls, just destroyed by trolls over and over. Yeah, I mean, maybe they'll learn something from the Red Dead beta. Maybe.
I don't know. Like this is definitely a beta. Still, there's some rough edges that happen every once in a while. Like, and I'm not saying you can't troll in this. I definitely lassoed and dragged another player through the swamp because like they bumped into me while I was riding my horse. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fucking kill that fucker now. Cowboy shit.
Cowboy.
I dragged him into a gator. That gator killed that person.
Wow. But
like my potential for trolling is much lower, and getting from point A to point B on that map takes a lot of time. And like it was very much a go and do this mission. Guy like was an asshole to me. Well, it's time for you to die. But I'm gonna kill you slowly with gators. Yeah, it could be something. I don't know what it is. It will not be as successful as Grand Theft Auto Online. And on that same topic, the fact that I can't import my Grand Theft Auto Online level is not something I should expect as a player. But the fact, it's weird because it's kind of the exact same system. And again, it makes no sense I'm having this reaction. But part of me almost thinks this might be a more successful game if I could bring my character from Grand Theft Auto Online in. Like, it's they're in Westworld bullshit or something, just so I can have that character level, because, again, a bunch of stuff I want is locked behind character levels, and on paper, I now have 2 unbelievably grindy games I, in theory, have to play. I'm not saying bring over my cash, just my character level, where it's like, I can't get a good horse yet because I'm not a high enough level. I have shitty guns because I'm not a high enough level. I can't get the clothing I want because I'm not a high enough level. And on one hand, I get it. On the other hand, I have no interest in playing 2 games that are pretty fucking similar, that are equally grindy, that will potentially have the exact same problem, which is people are actively getting in the way of your enjoyment of this game.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's weird for me because I'm having a hard time finishing the story mode. I want to finish the single player Red Dead, but like I don't always have 3 hours to drop down to kind of get from point A to point B. And I'm exaggerating some, but like that game is a time investment. The multiplayer is the exact same map, so getting from point A to point B still fucking takes time. And at least in single player, I have a really fucking good horse. In multiplayer, I have a really bad horse. Yeah, and like some of the money stuff in the game is designed to slow progression down some. Like in single player, Revolver will be like, oh, it's $8 because history. In multiplayer, $300 because multiplayer.
Yeah.
And there's some great memes going around about that. I've heard some stuff that like your progress in the beta will kind of care. Oh, that's the weirdest part. There's like a half-hour intro mission to the online stuff that is a weird wall for me to play more of that game. Like it takes time to get into like actual multiplayer in that game's multiplayer mode, which isn't a bad thing, but if you have to go through that every time you make a new character, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems a bit long.
Yeah. And I wasn't wild about the character creation and stuff. Like, it's fine. You're not making a perfect character. Like, you can't make you, but also, like, I had to work really hard not to make my character, like, it's weird. Male character creator, fine. Female character creator, I had to work really hard not to make, like, some swamp hag looking woman. And that's made this how my character randomly generated at first. I had to go through and turn off a shit ton of settings. And I'm not saying I want like some model-esque character. It's more like I don't want your face to be 90% moles.
Yeah, I kind of don't put character creation things in my hands. I showed you guys what happens when you put character creation stuff in my hands. You saw the wrestler stuff.
Yeah, and like my girlfriend was commenting on the idea where it's like she wouldn't be beautiful. I'm like, no, I don't care if she's beautiful. I just want to not find her hideous.
Yeah, you don't want to see. I purposely create hideous.
Yeah,
so, I mean that's because I'm a terrible person. Yeah.
I try and make like normal ass people with some frequency. I'm like, no, I want like this is the story of so and so, a person that had a normal ass life and is now doing this shit. Like they're not like Brad Pitt in a movie. They're like Joe, who was forced to become a space pirate.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, that's a little more interesting.
Yeah, no, it's a thing. I also played Darksiders 3.
All right, how is it?
Have you played the previous Darksider games?
I've played some of them. The first one. I played some of the first one.
So this is the Dark Souls Darksider game as opposed to the first one, which was the Zelda Darksiders game, and the second one, which was the Prince of Persia Sands of Time Darksiders game. I bring this up because I've personally been a fan of how I love Darksiders 1 and 2. I love the world, I love the character design, like there's something like, we're making an M-rated action-adventure game. It's cool. It's not God of War, it's like Zelda-esque. You pick up items. I 2 had a kind of an item system that maybe wasn't great, but it made sense for what that game was. And now we're at 3, and we're playing as Fury, and I don't like this one as much as the previous 2. Not that I like the story is there. It's more Darksiders story, which is something I want. It is that the second to second gameplay in this game does not feel good with some frequency. Like the first boss in the game that you can encounter within 5 minutes of the game starting, I died to 10 times. Not because she's hard, but because the platforming kind of whipping stuff to swing from it mechanic was not fucking working for me. On that note, none of the bosses I've faced so far have been anything even remotely resembling hard. Like, I'm 1 or 2 shotting, and by that I mean like 1 or 2 attempting bosses in a game where I am frequently being just murder killed by like 5 enemies at once, because it's a Dark Souls game. Like, it's the average enemies in this game will fuck you up. Bosses, not so much. Like,
it's funny.
It's and kind of all of the bosses are the same. It's beat on them and learn their attack pattern and dodge. I have yet to encounter one with more mechanic than that. Like, they're not even always all that coolly designed. Like, I think Avarice has been my favorite one so far. That's because I think he's voiced by Mark Hamill. And he's like a Joker demon thing that's all into collecting
that's
shit.
super cool.
It has a giant backpack of stuff, but also he's kind of lame because he like just swipes at you for most of the fight, but then eventually starts grabbing like toilets and fridges and bathtubs to wail on you with because you're fighting him in like his giant hoard treasure hold thing. Like, again, like the Darksider ass part of this game is cool and there. Like the fact that like the setting is kind of this it's this biblical apocalypse Earth where like you're fighting demons and there's just a taxi cab there, and in the first time you could pick up that taxi cab and beat someone with it is my favorite part of this franchise. Fury is not war or death, which is kind of shitty. Like, I love the design for death. I love the design for war. I think they were really cool character models. Fury seems a little bit lazy. It's on one hand, it's like, yeah, Girl Horseman of the Apocalypse is cool. On the other hand, it's like, this is the most generic girl in fantasy armor ever. Like, your other two characters are so unique looking, and this one's just lady in high heels and metal armor with a whip. Yay!
Maybe it was just a placeholder and they totally forgot. They just left it in. And then they're like, just leave it.
There are moments when, like, Fury's design is cool. Like, you get these hollows that, like, give you elemental powers, and one of them gives you, like, flame hair, which is cool, but also, like, the most, like, yo, we got this female character. Let's give her flame hair and electric hair, and, oh yeah, we're doing all the elements with these. Fuck!
Just hair, and then mixed with element.
Yeah, like she gets a secondary weapon depending on what hollow you're in, and I like the lightning hollow a lot. It's like a spear thing. The nunchucks for fire I don't like that much, but it's weird because I'm playing on quote normal mode right now, and I'm really contemplating dumping it down to like story mode because I don't care about the combat in this game. I've loved the combat in the other two. Like, the combat in this one's not great. But what I really want to see is the rest of the fucking Darksiders story, which is a weird thing to say because I had no idea how much I cared about Darksiders lore until I started playing this. I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember you. You're a motherfucker.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of sad to hear about the combat because that's what was really satisfying about the first two. Was the combat. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't really play much the second. I only mainly played the first one. But yeah, the combat was just very satisfying. Very satisfying.
Yeah, I loved how weird War's dash, like, dodge mechanic was in that one. I'm like, man, like, dude's just power sliding around. That's weird. Yeah, and I do remember in the first Darksiders having moments where the combat was the biggest, like, opposition to my enjoyment of that game. Like, that thing came out in the, like, era of the brutal finisher, which I remember that game having a lot of brutal finishers going on because that's how combat worked. And I think 2 had some of that, but 2 was also, like, a very agile combat system. Like, there are parts of 2 I really like. Like, I know some people weren't a fan of the loot system. That didn't bug me as much as it did others, but, like, some of the second-to-second gameplay in that game I thought was tight. And I don't know, like, maybe it's the whip, maybe it's the fact that, like, you can just hold square and auto combo in this game occasionally if you're playing on PS4. I don't know, like, it's I like Dark Souls games. This one feels like a bad Dark Souls games where occasionally, like, stuff just murders you and you're not sure why it murdered you, or, like, you take a lot of damage and you're not sure why. I did an area with skeletons where the skeletons were capable of attacking through your attacks, which sucked because a lot of the other enemies, minus bosses, can't do that. So, like, the dodging, like, there's a dodge mechanic that's kind of bad. Like, the window for it's really, really tight and not in a good way. And they, like, man, you gotta nail that thing stupid precisely to make it worth it. But, yeah, I don't know. I haven't completed it yet. I probably will try and complete it. I'm not sure if I will successfully pull that off, but it's the mixed reviews out there of we don't know if it's good or bad. I'm like, yes, on one hand, it is more Darksiders, and there's something about Darksiders I find genuinely cool, but this is definitely the worst Darksiders of the 3 out now. And
that's disappointing.
Yeah, it's weird because, like, I like Fury the character. Her design is just boring, and her combat is bad. Like, it is fun playing this, like, in the Dark Souls, this woman who is, like, so pissed off all the time. Like, and everyone's calling her on her shit constantly. Like, no, you keep fucking up because you're just like, fuck, I'm gonna kill everything now. Like these godlike creatures, like, no, you failed this test because it was supposed to prove like you were an impulsive dickhead, and you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Darksiders 3. I don't know. It's got a lot of the Darksiders stuff I liked. I just don't like maybe this one's combat. Like, if we get a 4, that means you're playing as Strife, and Strife is all about guns, which could be real cool. Like,
yeah.
if that's the Devil May Cry one, I could be real down with that.
Okay, yeah, that would actually be an interesting injection into the series.
Yeah, and that's kind of the coolest thing in my book, is each game is so different gameplay-wise. The fact that I don't like the gameplay in this one doesn't turn me off the franchise. It's just like, no, I don't like 3. The other 2, I fucking love the combat in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wish the bosses were better. Like, I remember 2 and 3 having some real cool bosses that this one does not have, which is sad. Yeah. What have you been up to?
Alright, so, okay, I bowled recently. Went bowling. But alright, so, I didn't really mention this before, but actually, I sprained my wrist a few weeks ago. I sprained it on one of those motorized scooters, actually, renting one of those motorized scooters.
Like a bird?
Yeah, I did the Uber one.
And
so, yeah, you can rent, if in case you're listening and you're not aware, there's these motorized scooters. They go up to 20 miles per hour, like almost 20 miles per hour,
yeah.
And kind of cool, pretty fast. But yeah, if you wipe out on them, it can be painful. But in any case, that's the wrist thing. So bowling, now I can't bowl with my dominant hand, and so I had to bowl with my left hand. And by the end of it, I was better. I never broke out of double digits, but it wasn't single digits.
Did you grow up in a place with real bowling or fake bowling?
What? Well, how would you describe the difference?
Did the balls where you grew up bowling have holes in them?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so I have a fascination with bowling because I grew up in a land with fucking candlestick bowling, which is this bullshit bocce ball sized bowling ball with skinny pins. So I managed to make it to like 18 before I ever saw a ball with holes in it.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah.
Haven't seen that before, but yeah, it went about as well as I thought it would, but it was fun. Anyway, in any case, it was super fun. It was somebody's birthday. So
yeah.
Really cool. I've been making my way through Darkest Dungeon. I'm continuing that. I've been enjoying that a lot. So
yeah.
I mean, it's a long haul game. That is, if you manage to stay afloat and keep making enough money to continue the game. But yeah, it's really interesting. The deeper I go into it, the more interesting it's becoming. So yeah, I like it a lot. It's cool. It's definitely I will definitely sit down and play it for I'll play through a couple of dungeons, in a setting. So
yeah,
and I am such a micromanager. It definitely is hitting that.
That game gives you shit to micromanage. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it gives you so much to micromanage. So that's definitely hitting that sweet spot. That's why I've actually reluctant to go to maybe buy the newest Disgaea, because that game is has such micromanaging. I mean, you can each individual weapons. You can go into a weapon and go into a dungeon made from a weapon. I mean, that's how and you level up the weapon and abilities for the weapons via that, and it's bizarre. But in any case, yeah, Darkest Dungeon definitely hitting that note, and I think that's really what's kind of kept me playing it. I do like these sort of idea of randomized dungeons and stuff. That's also kind of the rogue-ish part of it. It's pretty close to a roguelike, I'd say. But in any case, yeah, super cool. Still enjoying that.
Cool.
I did take advantage of Cyber Monday. I did actually buy something.
Oh,
I bought a terabyte solid state drive, and so I haven't installed yet. I only just got it in yesterday, but I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to installing all the games, well, or at least a good number of the games on my various game accounts. It'd be nice to actually get to play. Well, I mean, I own Destiny 2 now, but I don't have enough room on my hard drive for it currently. So, or for a lot of games. So it'll be nice. I mean, that's mainly what it's going to be for. It's going to be the terabyte spaces for installing video games.
I've heard some crazy stuff lately, like we're at an all-time low and it's still dropping for hard drive prices or something like that. Like it's like something weird. It's like we've gotten really good at making them again all of a sudden, and the prices are just bottoming out, which is cool.
Well, yeah, this one, the terabyte drive, it's a good brand. I mean, it's a Samsung drive, and it only cost me $130.
Yeah, that's insane for that much solid state.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, I remember the current one I have in here is only $240, but when I bought it, I think it cost at least like $60 or $70.
Yeah,
maybe 80. I mean, that's the prices have dropped so drastically on them. Did you get anything?
Not yet. I'm not sure if we talked about this in the podcast last week, or just kind of in the preamble beforehand, or it wasn't part of the podcast. I don't use my PC right now, so I can't really justify buying more parts for it, even though I want, like, I keep looking at 1070 Ti's being like,
Yeah. Well, and that's the next thing I definitely need to upgrade. Well, it's the thing I'd have to upgrade if I want to get the VR rig that I want to pick up, because I do want a VR rig, because I'd love to do some development for VR, like at least, to experiment with developing in VR.
Yeah.
And to do that, you have to have a new video card. You can't have what I have. Mine would melt. Mine's a 780 GTX.
Yeah.
And it would just melt that poor thing. It would not work.
Yeah, that's the thing. My graphics card for the time being is fine, and this year especially, I'm trying to do it's like something about like how they advertised the Cyber Monday, Black Friday stuff this year pissed me off, where it was like a week before each event. It's like, Cyber Monday starts today. It's Tuesday.
No,
of the week before Black Friday.
That's not how it works. That's not how words work. Words have meaning.
Yes, and like I don't know. I'm definitely kind of a Charlie gets angry at things for no reason moment, but like as a result of this, I've been like super anti, unless I like specifically need something. Like Costco had a really fucking good deal on large size like SD cards where you could buy. It was like still you could buy 2 for the price of 1 off any other thing I could find on the internet, and I'm like, okay, this I will buy. But everything else, if I don't need it, I'm not fucking buying it. Like unless I'm like actively looking for a replacement for something, I'm not doing any of this bullshit this year, because something about it's Cyber Monday, it's Thursday, really pissed me off. For no defendable reason, just I'm like, nah, fuck all this.
Yeah, and I understand that. I mean, but what you described is exactly what I did. I had a very, very specific thing. I even mentioned that last podcast. Very specific thing I was looking for. I found it, I bought it, and that's pretty much it. That's all I got.
Oh no, and this is more like normally like this time of year happens, and I'll buy like some dumbass shit where it's like, I didn't need 5 more terabyte drives for my computer, but I have space. And they're in there now. Because they came in a 5-pack off Newegg this year. Because reasons. And this year it was, half my shit's still in some version of a box from the move. Like, the studio's not set up. Like, even if I put new parts in my PC, it's not hooked up to anything. So it's like, yeah, it's a stupid powerful PC that doesn't run.
That's kind of sad.
Oh, it runs. It's not hooked up to anything.
Yeah, I know, but it's just kind of sad. It's just sitting there. It wants to be used.
I want to use it too. It doesn't change the fact that like I signed up for the Anthem closed beta over the weekend or over the past week, and I checked the specs against my laptop because I'm not going to have my PC running by then. I just know this for a fact. Or maybe I will, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. Like, I don't think I'm going to lug that thing into my living room, hook that thing up for like 4 days, and then lug it back to my garage. I might. I'm crazy like that occasionally, but I think I'm demonstrating a little more self-control on that topic recently.
There.
Yeah. Time for news, that means?
Yeah, I think it's time to talk about things.
Time for news. Right off the bat, we got some Fortnite news. We got my favorite thing, numbers, and we got lawsuits. So, starting with the numbers, Fortnite has roughly 200 million players, meaning 1 in 38.5 people play Fortnite.
That's madness.
Again, like, that's just based off the number of accounts they have, and
yeah,
I'm sure multiple accounts exist for multiple people and a variety of weird things, but yeah.
Well, it's not like Fortnite attracts the same type of like gold farmer account that you would see, multiple accounts for gold farming on WoW or whatever. Fortnite doesn't really have that type of grinding in it, so it doesn't really make sense for a bunch of alt bot accounts. So those are probably people just like you said, some people having a lot of different alt accounts for whatever reason. But
well, I think the big deal is it's on phones.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's mobile version.
Yeah. It all links back to kind of one account, which is the big sell of Fortnite.
Yeah.
But on the opposite end of the spectrum, this is a topic we've talked about once or twice, every once in a while. 2Milli, who is apparently a rapper or something, I don't fully know who 2Milli is starting to move ahead with a lawsuit against Fortnite over stolen dance moves, which is a topic we've joked about in the past, but also something that I guess in certain circles that are not us have been a big deal, actually. I guess like the idea of copyrighting dance moves is a complicated topic, but there are potentially millions, if not billions of dollars in Fortnite based around dance emotes based off of other people, real people's dances they've developed over the years.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like, well, it's not that they're using it. It's a paid thing. You have to pay for that emote. That's what's happening here. I mean, all right, so if you remember in WoW, I mean, the big thing was like a lot of the WoW emotes, they were all like dances or something well known. There's like, they did just multiple dances from pop stars or just celebrities and stuff. But you didn't have to pay for them. They were just built into the game. They're built in. And and that kind of falls a bit under fair use because it was allowed to happen because nobody was paying for those emotes. They're just included with the character, which they're usually by class or whatever. But yeah, there was no payment. But here, Fortnite or Epic is selling these emotes.
Yeah,
and that's where you're treading onto this territory. So in this case, definitely, I think I support 2Milli in what he's doing. I think it's important.
Yeah, I don't know if I noticed, but like it's enough people, I guess, have come out and been like kind of upset. Like the guy who played Turk on Scrubs, there's like not a revival thing, like a reunion thing recently that happened. He was asked specifically about like, hey, how do you feel about the fact that like your dance from that show is in the game and you get no credit? He's like, yeah, I'm not totally a fan of it. Like, not much I can do, but like, I'm aware that's a thing.
Yeah, and for him, it's probably a bit less because he's not the dance. It's not a trademark for him.
Yeah,
not really, I guess.
But yeah,
but this is definitely like this case. However, is definitely I'd say this is a questionable one, and this is one I think deserves merit in a court of law. That a judge and jury should hear this out.
Yeah, I brought him up. Kind of give the example of it's not just 2Milli being like, "Hi, I have a problem." It's like, no, this is a thing that other people have gotten out there and been like, this feels weird.
Yes, and I think this is, like I said, this is good. This is a court case that should be heard because I think the aspects of it, we're in a new age here. And it's, things like this, we're going to keep running into stuff like this, where we're not really sure how it runs. And if we're not sure, then yes, we need to hear it out, and it's worth hearing it out.
Yeah, we shall see.
Yeah, but that's I think that's interesting that it's, I this is kind of definitely setting a precedent. I mean, it will set a precedent, or at least has the capability of doing so.
Yeah, and it's an extra one where it's again like it's the Fortnite is a free to play game. At least the battle royale mode is. Like, remember, there's
Yeah.
a real game out there called Fortnite. It's not a battle royale mode.
Yep.
Which is a weird thing to think about. That like has made a shit ton of money off of just the selling of emotes. Not a bad thing necessarily, but like a lot of those emotes are inspired by real people.
Yep.
Moving on from that, we got some Destiny 2 news. They have finally gotten out there and detailed that next expansion, which is the Black Armory. It looks cool. Mostly it feels like they are just doubling the fuck down on, well, appealing to their Destiny 2 as a hobby players as opposed to what Destiny 2 vanilla appealed to, which was everyone. It's got some stuff going on with it. They got some cool looking weapons. The idea of your forging weapons, like the backbone of this DLC seems to be that you are forging weapons. This is also the first kind of part of their expansion pass they talked about, and it looks like the expansion or the content pass, whatever the exact, the battle pass, that's what I was looking for, might have actually been the correct path for Bungie DLC, because they're, as part of this, they're talking about how they're going to dole out the content for this thing over a period of time. Not everything there is going to be there at day one. And I bought into this thing. I've been playing much Destiny 2 lately, but seeing some of the stuff this has got me going, maybe I should get back into that for a little while. This fallen grenade launcher that I think looks pretty cool. And there's potentially some other lore shit going on, like who the new Hunter Vanguard replacement might be that might be real cool. At the same time, a lot of people are out there being angry about how we're in the season of the Forge, which is the new season we're in, or Destiny 2, and how some of the paid for items are are armors from famous Destiny characters. I guess the most kind of, in many people's opinion, egregious ones is you can buy Cade's cape, who's a beloved character who died recently. And on one hand, yeah, I get the outrage. On the other hand, this is exactly the shit I'd rather they sold in the game. So,
yep,
yeah, it's not great they're playing on like fan favorite stuff, but at the same time, I kind of super respect the fact that it's like, no, you're doing the thing you should have been doing, which is selling skins I really fucking want.
Yes,
and just skins and not other stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's armor, so it's a little bit more contentious than that, but
yeah,
it's not a perfect system. But at the same time, they have gotten out there and detailed the roadmap for the rest of Destiny Year 2, and while Season of the Forge looks pretty full of stuff, towards the end or the begin of Season of the Drifter, which will be the next season, which is March to May, looks like it's going to have a whole bunch of shit in there. And again, like, it's the battle pass approach seems to be working really well for this. If this map is to be believed and kind of what you're looking at, there's a lot of stuff coming. And that's what you want to see for a pseudo MMO.
Yes. It's the content.
Yep.
I mean, as long as they're devoted to creating quality content, I mean, that's going to keep your game alive.
Yeah. Well, I like the fact they've kind of split it off into the pass is broken, the timeline's broken into kind of free seasonal updates and the annual pass stuff you'll get, and the stuff you're, quote, getting for free is pretty good stuff, and the stuff you're getting for the annual pass is what you'd want from an annual pass. Yeah. Like, it's all the, like, here's the content-specific stuff that we're unveiling with every season. Neat. What's free? Levels. You can keep leveling. And seasonal events. Yeah. That's it for Destiny 2 news. I like seeing kind of they righted the ship feels like the wrong thing to say, but it feels like they finally kind of figured out what that game should be, at least expansion-wise, and they're doing it. As someone who cares a lot about that franchise, it's nice to see them doing it correctly for a change.
Yeah. That actually just reminded me of, I actually played the Halo arcade game the other day.
Oh, God.
They have it on the pier. Santa Monica Pier.
I just love that it exists.
Yeah. It's a light gun game.
Yep.
It plays like a light gun game.
Yep.
Like a 4-player light gun game.
Yep.
That's pretty much it. Yep, it's nothing really great or special about it. Like, so that's that.
Yeah. Moving on from that, Elder Scrolls Blades, that mobile phone Elder Scrolls games they were making, has been delayed till early 2019. In theory, it was supposed to be out by now, so this delay is kind of fall's not technically over, but yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Are you excited for this anyway? I'm kind of like, who cares?
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm really not. Alright, so, and I'll say this. I don't play mobile games, really. To
Fair.
be perfectly honest. Not really. It's like on my phone, like currently I don't even have any games installed on it right now.
I only play idle clickers on my phone for the most part. If Bethesda's making an idle clicker, then I'd be interested. Very interested. Yeah. Moving on from that. And this may be the last time we talk about Star Citizen because maybe I don't feel directly responsible, but I feel bad every time I talk about this. So we talked last week, there was that kind of free-to-fly event going on with Star Citizen. $7 million more got raised during that event.
Of course it did.
I think we need to stop talking about Star Citizen because our listener base is definitely not directly contributing to that problem, but I feel indirectly responsible every time it's like, hey, Star Citizen made more money and it's not even out yet. I'm like, I feel bad now. This is not a good thing anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and kind of talking about kickstarted games. Alright, so, and their problem.
Yeah.
So, Bloodstained, the Symphony of the Night sort of reimagining, basically, by Koji Igarashi, Iga, as he's known. Yep, it's having problems. And so it seems like they just keep on bringing in more teams. So they started with Inti Creates, and which I was like, all right, so Inti Creates, if you don't know, they were the ones behind Mighty Number 9, which, but at least it got made. So it's a Kickstarter game that got made, it got released.
Yep.
But not a good game, but at least they got it out there. They produced a game that could be played. And so I was like, okay, so they've hired on a team who can finish a project. Well, it turns out, I guess they can't. So they've brought in another dev team. So this means they have 3 dev teams working on this game right now. Though one of them is only really doing localization, Armature Studios. But yeah, they've brought on Way Forward, who worked on the Shantae series and other games. And so Way Forward, who obviously are very good at 2D scrollers. It sounds like a good idea, but wow, it just now I'm starting to question: are they going to get this out? How many more teams they gonna have to bring in to produce this 2D game?
Yep.
Come on. So I mean, that's the thing. It's like
the weirdest part
you can't.
I remember like the E3 this year, they showed off a couple levels from that game. Like, oh, this game looks pretty done. Apparently not.
Yeah, I mean, there's a playable demo, so the backers got a playable demo.
Yeah.
I watched somebody play it. And I'm not just talking about the 8-bit game which they put out,
Yeah.
which is a whole other thing.
Yeah,
but
it's that game with that goth girl in it. Yeah, it looks.
but the actual demo, the demo that actually is, a playable demo with levels.
Yeah.
I was like, but I guess maybe they're running into more trouble than they thought.
Maybe if it's just a porting issue of like, hey, we got to these 2 consoles super easy, but not these 2.
No,
Fine,
that's what Armature was doing for them.
Yeah.
There were localization and port. They're working on the ports. And I think they're specifically supposed to be working on like the Wii U port, but that's because that's how long it's been in development.
Didn't that get
so I'm
dropped?
guessing that they're working on the Switch port. I'd say.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, Way Forward. Yeah, I mean they're a great team, but I mean that's not a good sign when you're bringing in an entirely other team Now, like I said, there's 3 complete dev studios working on this one game now.
That's the Kickstarter game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, speaking of worrisome, Fallout 76. We're not going to kind of pick on Fallout 76 on a case-by-case basis this week because that's its own whole topic into itself. Like, we could do a podcast just on Fallout 76 at this point, and maybe towards the end of the year we will, but between just rampant players being assholes and being a problem and there being no reporting system in that game,
that's really bad.
To the Fallout 76 Fallout Edition, that they just kind of changed the pre-order bonus quality in it to, again, just more weird game problems, people being outraged about nothing has stopped with that game from being like, this is real fun to watch.
Oh yeah, this has just been an ongoing dumpster fire. It's been kind of fun to watch. It just sort of it's both exhausting and interesting.
And Bethesda has not handled it well. Like, they're out there saying some dumbass shit. Not to prolongate the topic, but yeah, I suspect we'll get to our Krampus cast this year, if not like in its own specific episode towards the end of the year when more of this stuff dies down some. We will talk in depth about Fallout 76. It has reached the point where it's kind of like The Division for me, where I'm just checking news, like, oh, what's wrong now?
Yeah.
People falling through maps again. They are!
Yep. Yeah, and this particular incident, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's all right, so go ahead and describe it, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah, like for a game that for multiple weeks has been like, man, this is bad. The fact that we have like, no, this is worse than the previous ones from a PR public perception standpoint. It's like, man, you built an online game without any way of reporting people for being fucking monsters. The thing that Overwatch has spent a lot of time combating.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, to the point that Overwatch even created the system for trying to not only punish bad behavior but reward good behavior. That's called like real attempts. They're trying hard.
Yeah.
Fallout 76? Yeah,
it's nothing.
Fallout. It's nothing.
That's
Who
nothing.
Cares?
Well, speaking of regrettable mistakes, we don't normally cover streamer drama, but this one's too entertaining for me not to bring up. Someone was hacking printers across the world to print promotional ads for PewDiePie and trying to stop him losing the top subscribed channel on YouTube.
Yeah.
Not much more to say on that. It's just funny as shit.
It's like, really? I mean, yeah, it's seriously like that, man. People are dumb.
If you've ever wondered what's wrong with the internet, this kind of encapsulates it, where it's like, here's a person you've probably never met that you are essentially shilling for their business and you are committing criminal acts.
Yeah, I mean, technically, that's basically a number of criminal acts. That's a number of actually illegal things.
Yep. You're willing to care about a stranger so much, you will risk jail time so that they maintain some, in the grand spectrum of things, semi-meaningless title. Yeah. I love it. People are nightmares.
Yep.
Speaking of nightmares, the Nintendo Creators Program Nightmare is over.
Oh, boy.
Nintendo this week announced that they are putting an end to the Nintendo Creator Program via Twitter. It will come to a close by the end of December, meaning 2019 will be a land of being actually allowed to do shit with Nintendo video games again. For those unclear what the Nintendo Creator Program was, it was this insane set of guidelines and approval process to be allowed to stream and post video on YouTube and other sites of Nintendo stuff. The end of the program means they're backing back the rules to kind of basically don't make us look like assholes.
Yeah.
I'm simplifying it some, but the rules are, you can do stuff, but yeah, it's a step in the right direction, especially because the rules for this thing were so bad that people just stopped doing Nintendo stuff.
Yep. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I totally get wanting to control your brand. That's something you must do if you have any sort of a brand. You have to exert a certain amount of control to protect your brand.
This went too far.
Yeah, this one went a little too far to the point it was nobody wants to represent your brand anymore.
Well, especially in a situation where like people are literally making free advertisement for you, and in some cases showing it off to millions of people on a daily basis. The fact that you're like, no, we need to control this. It's like, I get it, but also maybe don't shoot yourself in the foot on this one, Nintendo. We're gonna shoot both our feet. Okay, clear off.
Shoot them right off. Just shoot them right off.
Yeah.
Who needs feet?
Yep. Yeah. As someone who's like, we've had a weird number of YouTube of copyright tags on the channel lately. Like, despite having not posted anything in almost going on a year pretty soon, we keep getting copyright tags all of a sudden, and they're all pretty easy to dismiss.
Yeah, it's interesting. So one thing that, and I don't know if this is a trend or something I'm just imagining, but it seems like we're seeing kind of the results of some weird internal battles at Nintendo.
We've covered this in the past on the
between
podcast.
the marketing department and the development departments, and they don't seem to get along.
Well, I think it's more
they seem to be really, really out of sync. I mean, you see some of their presentations and some of this, it's just like, what are you doing? Like, it's like they're sniping at each other practically. It's weird. There's definitely some weirdness going on at Nintendo right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's just Nintendo. I think a lot of companies are trying to figure out like what the relationship with streamers need to be post kind of the YouTube Twitch shakeup. Like, it's
yes,
rewind 9 months even, and the idea of, hey, some shit's gonna happen that's gonna kind of really shake up the YouTube and Twitch gaming spaces. Oh, like what? Like someone's gonna die? Nah, some very specific policy changes are gonna implement that means a bunch of people that are living off of this stuff are suddenly not going to be able to all of a sudden. Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but what I'm saying, it just seems like more and more we're seeing this weird disconnect between what Nintendo's devs will actually tell you and what their marketing department, the moves that they tend to make, or at least for corporate moves. I don't know. And I think part of it is like, I think they're trying to figure out their space.
Yeah.
Like I think I agree. They're trying to figure out how does all this fit together.
On top of that, too, this is a step in the right direction. The issue is it's a step in the right direction everyone made 4 or 5 years ago, except Nintendo, who's like, no! And it's weird. Like, the Switch is doing really well.
Yep.
In certain areas. Like, it's I meant to talk about this in my week. Like, I bought a thing off the internet that basically makes my Switch feel in my hands like an Xbox 360.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, the fact that Nintendo doesn't make this is dumb.
Yeah.
Like, again, like I talked about this a bunch last week. I would love to use my Switch more. I find it uncomfortable to hold in mobile mode with some frequency, and I proved I will spend money to fix that issue.
Well, we all know that Nintendo hates normal, like any sort of a typical controller.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like they outwardly, like, obviously despise the idea of a normal controller.
Yeah, the GameCube was the last normal one, wasn't it?
And even that one had a weird shape to it.
It was bad at least. It was a normal controller still, at least.
Yeah, it had a configuration that was more like I would expect out of a controller.
Yeah. Moving on from that.
Not that. Yeah.
Moving on from that to kind of our last news thing this week. Once again, we're going to talk about loot boxes. And this is all kicked off by how the FTC has said they're going to investigate loot boxes. It's not super clear what that means at exactly this time, but, well, here we go.
Well, yeah, I think that's the interesting thing is it is all right. So the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, we don't have specifically a gambling commission. Right?
Yeah.
So England, like Great Britain has a gambling commission.
Yeah.
Our FTC kind of covers all of that type of stuff, and so, but it is kind of interesting that the FTC is involved. Well, I say kind of, very interesting. So,
and it might not be a good thing. Like it's so.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like so, to take a step back, the ESRB exists for the same reason the movie rating board exists, which is someone at one point said, "Hey, you need to start finding a way of regulating who sees what of your content, or we'll do it for you." And the industry, for sort of those rating boards, said, "We do not want you doing that because you are obviously going to be bad at this."
Yeah, and so we're saying the same thing here. So immediately, as a response to that, the IDGA recommended that devs should start self-regulating loot boxes while they can, because if they don't, then yes, the government's going to step in and do it for you, and you probably don't want that because these legislators, a lot of them aren't very tech savvy.
Yeah,
they just aren't. And so I remember the last time they started doing some, trying to regulate online gambling, some of the people involved in those committees here in the U.S. were woefully technologically incompetent.
Yeah, as I through this topic, it's a great example of kind of explaining things people don't get it. There's a documentary out there about kind of the lawsuit the band Lamb of God went through, and there's an amazing scene of the lead singer Randy Blythe explaining to, I think it's what country is Prague in? Is that Czechoslovakia?
Yeah.
He's explaining to a lawyer in Prague what mosh pitting is. It's this like 30-second thing of, okay, so what's the mosh pit? Oh, it's slam dancing. Pause. Okay, what's slam dancing? It's like mosh pitting. It's the thing you do in a mosh pit. Like and that is, as best I can tell, the best analogy I've ever seen of like, this is what happens when you're trying to explain a culture to people that do not and will not ever get what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
Like some corporate type from Kentucky is not ever going to understand what a loot box is, except that it kind of sounds like gambling, but maybe it isn't, and how does this affect the cost of chicken feed?
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, so definitely, I think hopefully the industry will take that advice from the IDGA and just self-regulate. Just figure out some way of self-regulating. But I don't know if that'll be enough. I don't think that would prevent the FTC from making a ruling, anyways. I don't know. They're probably going to be in communication if they aren't already very, very soon.
Yeah, I don't know is the answer. Like, you have a bunch of European countries saying, no, we don't trust you to self-regulate, which I don't necessarily disagree with. Like, it's the, on one hand, like, we've talked about this so many times, it feels weird to rehash it every once in a while. Like, it's the, I don't care about loot boxes so long as they're just cosmetic, to a certain extent. In a broader sense, I don't really care about loot boxes. You buy them or you don't, but I do understand the concept of whales, and there are a bunch of games out there designed to capitalize on whales, and like Clash of Clans exists. I am aware Clash of Clans exists, and Clash of Clans is disgusting. Like, and that's a loot box game, kind of, but not really. It's just a microtransaction game. But I don't know. Like, it's one of those things where it's like the Belgian approach, which is we're not going to let certain games in the country because loot boxes feels too far too quickly, but also
that feels heavy-handed.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like the fact that we're not willing to acknowledge that, like, yeah, loot boxings might not be gambling, but they sure as hell scratch the itch of gambling, is too kind of laissez-faire. Oh, we're cool with it, whatever. It's in that weird nerd video game shit, so who cares? If it was in football, we'd care, but it's like, I don't know what the middle ground is for me, but it's one of those ones where like everyone's reaction so far, I don't like it. It's like, no, this is wrong, but it's like, what's the best solution? I don't have one. I don't want the FTC involved, but I also want to come at the same time. Like it's because I don't trust the FTC to do a good job. Like if they demonstrated in the past a ability to like understand the medium, like the pinball thing, where it's like, oh, pinball is gambling. No, it's a game of skill. Actually, it looks like gambling. We're pretty sure it's skill. And what do you win from pinball except bragging rights?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't trust governments to understand video games. At the other end of the spectrum, though, I don't trust video game companies to not be like, well, no one said we can't do this, so we're going to.
Yep. So,
like,
it's just
as someone excited for an EA game in the near future, which is a weird place to be, it's like, yeah, no, I'm aware I'm like buying into a game that's going to have some bullshit happen at some point. Yeah, but it's gotta be EA bullshit. I'm aware.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at Anthem going like, this is gotta be perfect. It's like, okay, how long till EA gets involved and like does like the EA thing of like, hi, we monetized Air. Really?
An inconvenient gallon container.
Yeah. That does it for news this week. We have no listener mail this week, but if you wanted to contact us, how'd you go about doing that, Henry? You
would send it to our email at wickedawesomecast@gmail.com.
Again, that's wickedawesomecast@gmail.com. Down, spell as it sounds down the show notes like it is every week. Wow, I'm messing up my lines this week for this part. You got anything big to say, or should we get the hell out of here this week?
No, I mean, I think we hit the themes that we wanted to hit. I guess there was news, but it wasn't like, mind-blowing news.
Yeah,
so
normaler news. So actually, on that topic, we are streamlining the podcast some. Last week's podcast was fucking long.
Wow,
and recording it. So for every kind of assume kind of for every hour of podcast we deliver to you, it's actually kind of like an hour and a half of podcast gets recorded. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but we are trimming the podcast down some. This will be the last week with a preamble, if I actually choose to include a preamble, because going through this has been a little more complicated, and at least temporarily, we were doing away with our main topic because I feel we are covering our individual news topics with enough depth that you're getting, for lack of a phrase, your money's worth in us talking about that stuff in more depth. The main topic is designed initially to kind of force those conversations when they weren't happening, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I think we've been doing a lot better job of that lately, of kind of deep diving individually on the topics, as opposed to having one big topic to kind of go all out at.
Yeah, but definitely let us know. Send us an email at our email at wickedawesomecast@gmail.com and let us know. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, and none of these changes are permanent. It's more just last week's podcast was over 3 hours. I think we recorded for almost 5 hours, which
that was wow.
Yeah, my voice hurt after that one. But yeah, the holiday season is coming up, which means probably podcast recordings might get a little iffy. We'll have some version of Game of the Year coming up this year. We're actually gonna do that this year. I'm not sure what format that will take. We will also definitely be doing our Krampus cast this year. So if you have anything you want to write in for our dear, wonderful Krampus cast, start sending that stuff in. I will archive it, and we will. Those what the Krampus cast is, we choose one podcast, typically the closest one to when Christmas happens, to call out, for lack of a better phrase, all those who have been naughty this year in video games. It's our public service to you and something I really enjoy doing because Krampus is the true spirit of Christmas in my mind.
Yes, I agree.
But yeah, that does it for this week. For those who celebrate Hanukkah, happy first night of Hanukkah, or technically second night by the time this goes up. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
I'm good.
Do the metal.